All right, so we're gonna get started, and I, of course, the same little disclaimer that I am gonna make on the recording, like I do as with any other time, that this document is for educational and instructional purposes only. I'm not claiming full rights to this material, just meaning that, you know, some of these questions may or may not be mine. Some of these questions are submitted by clients that they want reviewed during the sessions and all of that. So I don't try to take full credit for any of this stuff. Most of these questions are questions that I have reconstructed. But yes, just want to get a disclaimer. So yeah, we're gonna get started with a first question, which I am going to start off with that. Let me make sure I got everything open. Okay, I do. All righty, y'all. So a school social worker is working with a 14-year-old student on anger management after he has been involved in several altercations throughout the school year. After the student's third session, the mother calls and informs the social worker requesting to terminate services because she doesn't think therapy is doing any good. The social worker believes that the student is benefiting from therapy. What should the social worker do first? So of course, this is the first question. Anybody want to take a shot at just telling me where we are in this process?
In the middle.
We're in the middle because it says after the student's third session. So that means we are already actively working with the client. So that means that's probably going to be a little relevant to the answer we choose, knowing that we've already had 3 sessions with this student. Pay attention to that. So what is the priority presenting problem in this situation? So what is the most critical thing that is making this situation problematic that we need to address?
The mother is calling to calls and informs the social worker requesting to terminate services because she thinks the therapy is doing no good.
Okay, so tell me, why is that a problem?
Well, that's for me.
So everybody, go ahead. I'm going to ask, make sure everybody's in agreement with that.
Yeah, I agree with that presenting problem.
Okay. Anybody disagree? Like to be sure before we move on. So just tell me, of course, y'all know when y'all say something, I want to know why. So I want to know, why is this the problem? You want to say it?
So, because you actually kind of threw me off. I wouldn't.
Y'all be letting me ask y'all. It's like when I ask y'all questions, y'all be thinking I'm saying y'all wrong. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. So that's to help build your confidence, because I want you to know when you say something or you pick an answer or a problem, you know that's what it is. So
okay.
Why is that a problem?
So I'm gonna go with the fact of, when we go back to the first line, it says that after he has been involved in several altercations throughout the school year.
And I would say we're in the third session, so why do you feel like it's not working?
Okay, all right. So we're gonna keep on moving. This is the first question. So that means the next step in our process that we want to focus on is the type of question. So this is first question. So that means we are trying to do what is the most important thing about this presenting problem. Okay, so keep in mind, we done already had 3 sessions with this kid. The mama calls, tells us that, you know, social workers requesting to terminate services because she don't think therapy is doing any good. So whatever answer you pick has to directly address that. So you're looking for the most important thing to do about that. So is A, inform the mother that she will transfer the student to a different social worker. Is that going to be the most important thing we need to do in this situation?
Scratch.
Okay. What about B, encourage the mother to allow the student to continue coming to session?
Scratch.
Why are we scratching that one?
I say pause.
I was gonna say pause.
Because I don't think
pause
that's
until I ask the question. Nobody said pause until I asked the question. Y'all all,
I don't think it's the first thing you would do.
No, I say scratch.
Okay. So we got some pause and we got some scratches. So Ms. Adrian says she don't think that it's the first. So we got a little conflict, a little controversy. So we're gonna keep it just until. So now what about C? What about for C is exploring the mother's reasons for why she feels therapy is not helping is the most important thing we need to do right now.
Pause.
Pause.
I say pause also.
All right. What about D? Discuss the ways the social worker believes that the student has improved.
Scratch.
Everybody okay with scratching that?
I said
Yes.
scratch.
I say scratch.
Why are we scratching that one? Y'all know when y'all scratch, I need to know why.
It's not, the social worker doesn't have to convince the mother that she thinks that the student is improving.
Okay.
I think it's worth a discussion, but I don't think it should be the first thing. I think maybe 10 or 15 minutes in the conversation, then the social worker could probably point out some great attributes of how the student improves. So I wouldn't say, I just don't think it'll be the first thing, but it's worth discussing.
Okay. So we got 2 options left. And so we know that we've already started student for 3. Mama called telling us, look, this is not working. I want to terminate this. The most important thing that you need to do is encourage the mother to allow the students to continue to come to sessions. I mean, after all, you do believe that it is benefit, that the student is benefiting. Or do you want to explore the mother's reasons for why she feels therapy is not helping?
I would go with C.
And I agree. I go with C also.
I would also go with C, but I'm going to tell you why I also pause, because when I look at my questions, I'm kind of trying to process that. I'm looking at answer by answer and not all of them together.
Okay. Amen. Yes. So the one thing that I want to hear that y'all looking at, or when y'all picking this answer, is it directly addresses what our presenting. The presenting problem is the calls and tells you that, look, I don't think it's working. I want to quit. So the first and most important thing that you're going to do is be like, okay, so can you please explain to me or elaborate, why do you feel like it's not helping? That is going to be the most important thing we need to know. That's going to be the first thing we need to do. Okay. So encouraging the mother to allow the student to continue to come to sessions, that's disregarding what she's saying. So we definitely don't want to do that. So that is pretty much the reason why. So yeah, good job with that. But just make sure that we are making sure that we are validating that with comparing it up against the presenting problem, because yeah, it makes sense, but I want to hear, yeah, because that's not what the presenting problem, I mean, you know, or that is what the presenting problem is about. D, I know y'all were kind of like, you know, no, discussing the ways the social worker believes the student has improved. This one normally trips people up for the people who pick this as a presenting problem. Like, oh, okay, it's a problem because the social worker believes that the student is benefiting from it. So discussing that, D would match that. So some people get tripped up with that. Y'all didn't. So kudos. That means y'all been coming to group and y'all learning what y'all need to learn. So I'm proud. So let's go on to number 2. Best question. I'm gonna do one more. I'm gonna go ahead and do this and get this one out the way. It's the best question. So I'm gonna just say out the gate, we have a best question. That automatically means that we are meeting the client where they are. I don't know what the situation is yet, but I see these big old letters. So whatever it is, we client situation where they are. So to take into account the information processing deficits of clients with schizophrenia, what should the social worker do to best structure group treatment? So for me, simplifying this, I would just basically make it sound how it needs to sound. What's the best way to structure group treatment for clients with schizophrenia? Okay. Because we know that they have, you know, information processing deficits. So, but for me to simplify, what's the best way, if I'm trying to structure a group treatment, what's the best way to do that for clients that have schizophrenia, knowing, you know, some of the challenges they have? So the best way it means we got to meet them where they are, knowing they have these challenges. So according to these deficits, what is the best way? Will it be A, encourage the free flow of ideas?
I would say A.
Okay, so we got to pause on A.
Pause.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd pause it also.
All right, so B, use expressive therapy tools.
I'd pause that too.
Okay. Enforce a rigid agenda for the group.
Scratch.
Scratch.
Yeah, because rigid,
Doesn't work with schizophrenia.
yeah, not at all. All right, what about schedule a variety of brief activities?
I
I'm
think
gonna-
scratch.
I'm going to go with it.
Okay.
B.
Who said they gonna go with it? That was you, Miss
Chris.
Okay. All right, so yeah, that means we only agreed to scratch one of them so far. So, to take into account information processing deficits, that's what we're focusing on, right? We know that these clients, we're trying to make a group for some clients that they struggle with processing information.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the best way? We got to meet them where they are,
Right.
to pretty much best accommodate them. So it's encouraging the free flow of ideas, the best way that we want to structure a group treatment for clients that have difficulties or deficits with processing information.
I say no.
Okay, tell me no.
Because they have a problem processing things, free flow, it just make everything chaotic.
Ooh, I love it. That's exactly why I'm not even going to, that's it. That is exactly why. When you free flowing ideas, it's just kind of like stuff is all over the place and they are already struggling with processing stuff. That is definitely what you don't want to do. All right. So now, what about B? Thinking about it again, focusing. We're going to stay focusing on what our main issue is here. The fact that they have information processing deficits. Do we want to use expressive therapy tools, or do we want to schedule a variety of brief activities?
I say B.
She said B. I heard somebody.
Yes, Adrian.
Okay, so she said B. Anybody agrees or disagrees, or y'all just like, I don't even know at this point?
I'm still gonna stick with D.
Okay, okay.
I think D too.
All right, so my D's tell me why. Tell me why. First of all, I want to hear why it's B. The B, tell me why is it B?
Because people with schizophrenia they have a problem, they have a hard time expressing themselves, maybe with type of therapy tools would get them to bring things out that maybe they would have a hard time explaining to us, and then that's why.
Okay, so now my D, somebody tell me why it's D then.
I'm going to say because those with schizophrenia, they have like a short attention span.
I was getting ready to say they don't. When they have conversations, they're on different tangents. So you want to keep their attention as much as possible. So you want to make
y'all going all over the place.
So I don't know. I don't know.
All right.
I went brief 30 minutes.
Okay. So y'all had the right idea. So I want to know, did anybody after hearing her explanation of B feel like, oh yeah, B probably is the answer, or vice versa? Ms. Adrian, after hearing what they say, do you feel like, oh, D might be the answer? Because this is good. Yeah, nobody changed their mind. All right. So first thing I want to tell all y'all in this group is to make sure y'all go and kind of get familiar with schizophrenia, because y'all know that's one of the most common diagnoses that's on the exam. Schizophrenia is one of them. So just kind of know what's going on with them and know how to best work with them and all this other kind of stuff. So the next thing is I'm gonna let y'all know that my D's, y'all were right, but y'all it's right. But it's telling y'all right here clearly they have deficits with processing information. So of course the activities you do need to be brief, so that okay, let's do this for 10 minutes, let them process it. Let's do another one for 10 minutes, let them process it. You know, just because, not only because they're on tangents or their attention is all over the place, but because they have information processing deficit is right there in the question. So just pay attention, make sure y'all paying attention to what we highlight, like, you know, what we pick out as the priority issue here.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense? Y'all clear on
Right.
that?
Yep.
Ms. Adrian, you good with that?
Yep.
All right. I like it though. I like when y'all kind of challenge each other perspectives, because I mean, I think we learn better that way. Okay. let's see, things present. All right, so yeah, no. All right, so anybody want to take number 3, which is a little should question?
I mean, I can do it. This is Adrian.
Go ahead.
A social worker who facilitates group sessions at an outpatient clinic notices that her co-facilitator is struggling to interact positively and professionally with the clients after the recent death of her mother. What should the social worker do?
Okay.
So a should, isn't that
Well, you got it.
like an ethical question?
Yes, we put our ethical hat on. Absolutely.
Okay. So A, request that the colleague take off more time to grieve her mother's death.
Wait. What's
Okay, I'm sorry.
going to the solutions? Do we know what the problem is yet?
The problem is that the social worker notices that her co-worker is struggling to interact positively and professionally with the clients after the recent death of her mother.
I mean, yeah, that's the only sentence. That's why. All right. So ethically, this is something that's directly from the code of ethics. So tell me what you know, because I know you didn't read the code of ethics and all of that kind of stuff. Let's go. We're still gonna go through the answer choices, but go ahead and tell me about it.
Okay, so A, request that the colleague take off more time to grieve her mother's death. I don't think she should do that. So I'm going to say scratch that.
Why?
Because yes, she might be struggling, but she's making assumptions that has to do with the mother's death. There's something else could also be going on.
Okay. At any point, anybody disagree, make sure y'all let me know.
I agree with scratching it.
Okay.
B, speak to a supervisor to make her aware of the colleague's behavior. Scratch, because ethically that's not the first thing you do. C, inform the clients of what is going on with the colleague. Absolutely not. That's wrong. So many levels.
Okay.
And D, speak to the colleague directly about the observation to see if additional assistance is needed. That, I think, is the most appropriate thing to do.
Anybody disagree?
No.
All right. So ethically, like I said, verbatim from code of ethics, we normally go directly to the colleague about any and all issues. I don't care what it is. Even if you find out they're messing with a client, you go to them first. Okay. After you try to rectify it, and you feel like they're not trying to hear you or whatever, then you kind of go to the other channels, but directly to them first. Like, girl, you know, you mess with that client or whatever the case, do that first. Okay. Because snitches and stitches is what they said. I'm just playing. Just joking.
That's right.
She said that's right.
That's true. Snitches going to.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Okay. So let's do something else from the Code of Ethics verbatim, y'all. According to the ASWB Code of Ethics, which of the following is the first step? This one is good. In solving an ethical dilemma. Is it A, determine whether there is an ethical issue or dilemma? Pause and scratch.
Pause.
I said pause.
Yeah,
Okay.
I said pause also.
All right. Is it B, implement modification?
Correct.
Yes, scratch.
Right. Weigh ethical issues.
Scratch.
Identify ethical standards that are being compromised.
Pause.
Great. So let's talk about it. So we're just looking for basically, this is a recall question, but somebody told me that they saw something in their exam. I was like, okay, let me go ahead and put it in some Google questions. So let's get it. So this just requires you to know what the ethical, what are the steps in solving an ethical dilemma. That's actually kind of like one of the first topics that is mentioned in like the APGAR book and all that kind of stuff. So it must be pretty important. So Does anybody know what the first step is? If you're, let's just say you're in a situation and you have an ethical dilemma, let's just say you don't believe in abortion and somebody wants to commit, you know, one of your clients wants to do abortion or whatever. I don't know. That's probably a whack example. But what's the first step in solving any ethical dilemma?
Well, don't you need to determine whether there is an ethical issue or dilemma?
Why?
You might,
say-
well, I mean,
I
I could
would
be
say-
overanalyzing it.
I would say identify, then determine whether an ethical issue.
I would say D. I think that we need to know if a situation occurred, I think that we need to know what is it about first, okay? Then you kind of come together, put your head together to determine is it ethical or not.
I get where she's coming from because you need
Yeah, I
to.
do too, yeah.
I get where she's coming from.
Okay. So what I'm gonna tell y'all is I need y'all to go and know, well, y'all don't have to go, but y'all gonna know after this question. The first thing you definitely need to do is determine whether there even is an ethical dilemma.
Okay.
So know that, because they may not ask you verbatim like this, like, oh, what's the first step in solving an ethical dilemma? They may provide you with an ethical dilemma.
Mm-hmm.
You got to determine where you start at to solve it. Or if they say you've already determined that an ethical issue is, you know, is what do you do next? So because of that, I want to help y'all out. So let me give you an answer, and y'all gonna have this when I send it to y'all. I already want to get the steps for y'all and put it right here. So all y'all do know this. So you want to identify it, determine it. This is straight from Apgar's book. Any questions about that?
So the answer is identify.
Yeah, is it identify or
D?
determine? Because the rationale looks a little different from what we chose.
You know what? It's D. I'm so sorry. Listen, that's my error. So it is identify. I'm so sorry about that.
Okay.
We go back and scratch that out. Yeah, I told y'all, I'm telling y'all, let me when I be doing this, I'll be in my right mind all the time. So yes, it's D.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So the client, like the lady told me that, you know, it was on here. So definitely know it. So I was like, let me just go ahead and throw this on here because I never really gave nobody questions about that before. Never even thought about it. So I want to put on so y'all can have it just in case y'all see it. So yes, and thank you for the correction. Everybody clear on that?
Yes.
Number 5, anybody want to take this first question?
A social worker is, sorry, go ahead.
A social worker is seeking a 23-year-old married woman who has recently given birth to her first child. During the initial interview, she reports having trouble sleeping and eating. She appears disheveled and disorganized and states that lately she's been feeling unmotivated and overwhelmed. What should the social worker do first?
Okay.
We have one of these.
Where are we? Let's start with where are we in the process? Let's just start there.
She's in an initial interview.
So that means we're in the beginning.
In the beginning.
Right?
Yes. Lately she's been feeling unmotivated and overwhelmed.
Okay, so are you saying that that is what our priority issue is? I'm just trying to be clear.
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. Yes.
Okay, so just right here.
Yes.
All right, everybody agree?
I agree.
Yeah, I do, but
But
that's okay. I had one of these before. I'm hoping I'm right, but I don't know.
It's some other little things that I probably want to highlight as well. Reports trouble sleeping, eating. She's disheveled, disorganized.
So for this one, why are we just picking out this part as the most important? Just curious.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I guess I'm pointing like you can see me. I'm sorry, you can't see me. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut the sentence off.
Okay, so we'll go with the whole one, the whole
okay,
thing?
yeah.
Okay. Cool beans, because of course we're looking for the most important, the most critical thing.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut the sentence off.
Cool. All right, so now we know that we're in the initial interview, which means we're in the beginning, engaging in or assessing. Our answer has to be doing something of that sort. Our problem is that this lady she's disheveled, disorganized, and she tells you that I ain't been feeling motivated and I've been overwhelmed lately. So what should you do first? Which means, of course, what is the most important thing you need to do at this time about this situation?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, take us through the answer choices.
Conduct a risk assessment. I'm gonna pause it.
Pause.
Okay. Unless anybody disagree, then y'all let us know.
Determine the frequency and duration of the woman's symptoms. I don't know what that has to do with anything.
Pause is great.
I don't really know what to do with that answer. It's just not relevant.
Anybody want to help out? Anybody want to help what to do with this answer? She's confused. Pause it or scratch it? Are y'all all confused?
I think I would pause it.
I'd say pause it for right now.
Yeah, normally when we confused, let's just pause it.
All right. Because it could
Okay,
be asking like, how long have you been feeling like this?
That
Okay.
sounds like,
Right, exactly.
that's
Okay,
exactly what it
okay.
sounds like.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so we pause in A and B.
Okay. Explore the client's possible reasons for her symptoms. I mean, that's already kind of like answered in the question, so I'm gonna scratch it.
Okay.
And assess the client for family support. That's not the first thing I would do.
Right.
Okay. Y'all show, because they say assess right there. And y'all know that the people say y'all always gotta assess first. First question. So are y'all sure y'all want to eliminate D?
Yes.
I'm just,
Yes.
I'm being petty good. Okay. Hey, group. Okay, group. All right, so we only got two choices. And basically, in a nutshell, y'all already in an initial interview. So the answer y'all pick has to be something that we do in an initial interview. Looks like both of those are things that we would definitely do. So both of those are two good answers. But we need to find the one that's most important that we're going to do about this presenting problem that we highlighted. So y'all go ahead and let me know. Our risk assessment, is there anything in here that kind of states she's suicidal, or are we going to determine the frequency and duration of her symptoms? And how long? That's all that means. Get it?
I personally think it's B.
Anybody else?
I think I would say, I could be wrong, but I'm gonna go with A.
Oh, I like it.
Uh-huh.
I like it. Somebody said, so somebody agreed with A. So I want to know, for instance, it sounded like you that said B. Tell me why you're choosing B. Like for y'all to hear.
Because the first thing is to determine the frequency and how long, because, and then maybe if you, after she answers that question, you could do a suicide risk assessment.
Okay. All right. All right. So what about A? Why y'all want to assess for suicide first?
Because it already says how long. I forgot. She said lately. So it kind of says late. It kind of like gives a somewhat of a time frame.
But we don't know how. I mean, we could overanalyze it and say like she just gave birth. How old is her baby? To kind of figure out.
I think because she's saying she's feeling unmotivated and overwhelmed. That's
I feel unmotivated and overwhelmed, and I don't be wanting to kill myself. I sleep.
The trouble sleeping,
She sounds like she's having
eating.
symptoms of postpartum, but who knows?
All right.
Trouble eating and sleeping, and
Disheveled,
disheveled and
disorganized.
disorganized.
I would say B as well. I'm gonna go with B as well.
I'm gonna go with B.
Because I think with the suicide, I don't see any her feeling hopeless or worthless or any of that. Maybe I'm just adding to it.
Okay, no, I like this because I know that we learn better from other people's perspective. So okay, so let me. We are okay. She's 23 years old. She's married. She recently gave birth to her first child. Consider the situation. Focus on the presenting problem. In the initial interview, she's telling you, "Look, I'm having trouble sleeping, eating. I'm all over the place. The child is giving me the blues, pretty much. You know, I've been feeling unmotivated and overwhelmed. It's her first child. She just gave birth." And one of the things we kind of know about that is, let's find out how often she's feeling like this and how long has she been feeling like this? Like, have you been feeling like this since you gave birth? Or, how long does these symptoms last? Is it every day? How long it is? So we definitely want to determine the frequency and duration first before we try to push suicide, because this sounds like depression, y'all. It don't sound like suicide. It sounds more or less, especially when you consider the situation that she just gave birth to her first child. She probably really overwhelmed. She don't know what's going on. She probably, her sleep habits, her schedule is all off. So that's why she's disheveled, disorganized. She don't know what's going on. She all over the place. So it sounds like with trouble sleeping and eating, that's depression. First. So let's just kind of see how long this has been going on. And then from there, we can conduct a suicide risk assessment. I know a lot of times we want to do suicide risk assessment first, but there really is not anything concrete that says suicide in these symptoms. Like, do y'all see anything? Just because she feeling unmotivated, I just think realistically, just because she's disheveled and disorganized, don't really mean that doesn't insinuate suicide. Not one of the symptoms. Unmotivated and overwhelmed, that's stress or whatever, but that still is not like you're saying, oh, I feel hopeless, I feel like giving up. That's totally different. Just not motivated. Am I making sense? Let me put the rationale, see if that can explain. Okay, this is initial interview, beginning phase. Prioritizing suicidal risk is always important for the social worker to do when a client presents with depressive symptoms. Social worker must first understand the duration and frequency of those symptoms before a clear diagnosis can be determined. So before we diagnose anybody with anything, you got to know the frequency and duration. And I be preaching that all the time when I be talking about Unit 2, because Unit 2 questions, that's what pretty much they all want to know. When they give you a situation, they give you symptoms, you got to see, okay, what are they symptoms and how long have they been having these symptoms to determine a diagnosis or the difference between two diagnoses. Because we know acute stress disorder, the only thing that makes it different from PTSD is the duration. So we got to know that first before we can just be like, oh yeah, she might be suicidal. Especially when there's no direct indication of suicide. Suicidal thoughts are not mentioned. So it doesn't say like she want to give up. It don't say anything. Any questions or still concerns about that?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Y'all not confused, huh? Because y'all quiet. Y'all okay with that one?
Yes.
I went way back and forth with that. Okay. All right. Anybody want to take this one? Except for whoever had the next question, had the next issue, I want you to take the next one. So don't take this one. Anybody else want to take this number 6?
I can do it. It's Adrian.
Okay.
Land developers want to tear down a senior living facility in order to build an expensive high-rise. This would mean that hundreds of senior citizens would have nowhere to go. In order to best advocate for the seniors, what should the social worker do? Okay. You want me to start reading the answers, or?
I want you to take me through the process.
Okay.
So let me know if there's a phase or anything.
Well, this is just starting, you're advocating for the clients where they're at. So this is senior citizens that would become homeless
Okay.
if they tear their home down.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So
So
what do we highlight?
well, senior citizens have nowhere to go.
That's gonna be what our focus. That's what we're focusing on.
Right.
These people
So-
want to tear down. That's fine. Y'all want to tear this down and build some high rises, but these people who live here, now they ain't gonna have nowhere to go. That's our problem.
Yeah.
Now, what is the question asking of you?
The best advocate for the senior. So what should the social worker do to help the clients where they're at?
Okay, because we meet them where they are and we want to best advocate. What's the best way we can advocate for them?
Okay.
Okay, take us
Hold
through
hold a protest at City Hall. I don't think that's the best way to advocate for them.
Okay.
Host a community forum to discuss the situation. I'm going to pause that.
Okay.
Create a community petition to prohibit the development. I don't think that's the best way to advocate for the seniors. Meet with the landowners to come up with a fair resolution. I think that is the best way to me. So I like D.
All right. Anybody else want to chime in on this one? She's gone with D.
I like D also.
I'm stuck between B.
Tell me why. Let these questions stress you out.
Yeah, especially the question ones like this right here, because I'm just like, oh my God.
Let me tell you, this is macro, y'all, and this is where
I
everybody
know.
struggle. Everybody struggling on all this. I'm about to help y'all out though.
So I like B only because I want the seniors to be a part of the discussion.
Hello. And that's the key to this.
Okay.
That is the key. So let me just elaborate a little bit because this is kind of one of the main reasons why people are struggling with community questions. Let me tell you, one of the main notions about community, especially this question, when you have a community question, you got to know how to, I guess, I would say categorize it. So there's community organizing. You have to know what the steps are in community. How do you community organize, what that looks like? The main thing you need to know is whenever you are organizing or advocating for, or be, for a community or whatever, you want to make sure that they are a part of the process.
Okay.
Y'all, that is going to be the undertone of the community organizing, advocating things. You don't want to just be making plans for or creating solutions and they don't have no say. The people who are being impacted don't have any say. So normally look for that answer that is inclusive of the people involved. Okay. So the best advocate for the seniors, of course, is meeting them where they are, which means that they're gonna be homeless. So let's host a community forum, which means all of them gonna have they say. We're gonna invite them landowners to come and we're gonna all kind of do it. I'm gonna host it, I'm gonna lead it, I'm gonna advocate for them, but they'll be able to give their piece as well. Just you meeting with the landowners to come up with a fast solution, that's not really even giving them a voice. Okay, make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What if this would have been just one individual?
Well, you definitely not gonna host a community forum.
Right. So would it be that we would meet with the landowners to come up with a fair solution?
With that client.
Okay.
With that client, you still want to have the client involved. Whenever we're doing these rallies or whatever, we having the people that's impacted,
Right.
We have them with us. They're out there with us on the front line because we're trying to empower them to, seek justice and solutions for themselves, as well as be that source of resource or power that they don't have. So it's kind of a collective, and that's what we need to know about community organizing. Community organizing is a collective. So planning is a collective. So when y'all see these macro questions or these community, same difference, community questions, the first thing I want y'all to do is categorize it in your mind and say, okay, is this community organized? Is this program development? If they're asking me to develop a program, or they're saying, oh, you know, we want you to develop a program or whatever. Okay, what do I do first? You got to know, categorize it and know the steps to program development. Or is this policy analysis? They trying to get me to analyze the policy. You need to know the steps to that as well. So that's why people getting tripped up, because I'm gonna be honest, y'all, this is kind of late to the game. So I don't even know if they've added this to the curriculum in colleges yet, like this community aspect. That's why everybody's like, I don't even know, this is not in none of the books I'm studying. You know, APGAR has some of the policy, like something about policy analysis, but nowhere near community organizing and all this kind of stuff like that. So it's very few resources out there. I literally had to go buy a specific big, like 800-page textbook to get information about community stuff, y'all. So hopefully they start adding this to the curriculum, since they add this to the exam, and people are clueless, and this is where they're missing a lot of the questions. So just know what community organizing is, what the steps is to it. You can Google that stuff, but just know that. Any questions? This is a community organizing question. I keep saying it because I want y'all to remember community organizing.
Okay.
All right. Who was that had the question?
Ooh, these next questions, Jesus.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's get into it.
A school social worker is working with a 12-year-old student due to lack of engagement in class, sleeping in class, and frequent complaints about being sick per the parent's permission. After the second session with the child, the social worker calls the parents to request a meeting with them. The mother is hesitant and the father is resistant, stating that while their daughter is in school, she is the school's problem. After explaining the reason for the meeting, what should the social worker do next?
The audacity. She at school, she's a problem. Poor teachers. Okay, so what is the phase of the helping process that we're in?
Well, it's the second session, so I would say middle.
We're already kind of working with the client, so we can go with that. What is our priority presenting problem?
Lack of engagement. She's sleeping in class. Complaints.
This right here?
Right.
Okay. Everybody agree, disagree?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So what is the question asking of us?
It's asking us, what should the social worker do next?
And so
they have to explain the reason for the meeting.
So next after what? This right here, right?
Right.
I think what should she do answering the father when he says while their daughter's at school, she's at the school's problem.
You're saying that that's the presenting problem?
Well, she already asked them for a meeting, and his answer was, when she's at school, she's a school problem. So then I guess we're pretty much saying the same thing.
So you're saying that that's the priority issue is what I'm asking? Yes.
That the mother is hesitant, the father is resistant, stating that sentence is the problem.
All right. We got a little controversy. I like controversy in this setting. All right. So y'all, she changed the game on y'all. So go ahead, Miss Bevel was doing it with the next question. Who's doing it?
Chris.
Okay, Miss Chris. All right. So they want to know what we're gonna do next, but apparently we don't know what we're gonna do next after, explaining the reason for the meeting. So what is the next thing we're gonna do?
Okay, so I'm thinking in my head, the social worker had request that they come to the meeting. Social worker already explained the reason for the meeting. So A, continue working with the student without the parents' involvement. Would that be beneficial? I would say scratch it.
Anybody disagree? Y'all let me know as she go, and we're gonna pause. All right, keep going.
Refer the family to a community agency that provides family counseling service. I say scratch that.
Why?
Because I don't think that she haven't really, I know she already explained the reason for the meeting, but I don't think that's the next thing that they should do.
Okay.
I don't think she put enough support for that.
Okay.
And can I add my little 2 cents?
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I wouldn't go with B is because the social worker is working with the 12-year-old and not the family.
Well, she kind of called the family, but see,
Okay. Okay.
we kind of get into this little issue with not really being clear on the presented problem. Let me check in with Ms. Marshall just to make sure she's okay. Are you okay? You good?
I got you.
I don't know. I just checking in because she hadn't said anything. All right, we're gonna continue. So C. What about C? So we everybody wants to scratch A and B. What about C?
Reassure the parent that the primary interest is in helping their child and encourage them to attend. I would pause on that one.
We're gonna pause on that one because what does that address though?
The social worker did take the initiative step to try to involve the parents in what's going on with the child because of her lack of engagement. To me, I think that's an important thing to do, even though she's working with the child. It's good to get the family involved, the mother and the father.
Okay.
But if you're talking about what primary presenting problem it addresses the second one, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna pause it. What about D?
Inform the parent that due to their lack of participation, a CPS report must be filed. I'm going to scratch that.
All right. So I got a question for only because of what you just said, whoever just spoke for C. So question first is, does C address this?
No.
No.
Answer. I'm sorry.
Okay, so which one of these answers do address that?
Oh.
D.
Who?
I say A does.
How does A address?
Well, it says lack of engagement in class, sleeping in class, and frequent complaints about being sick per the parent's permission. Is that her saying she's, I don't know, that.
Usually if you can't make it make sense.
None of them.
Yeah,
Right.
that means that it's not what you should be focused on, because that is why that is not the priority problem. Let me show you again, because I know I feel very passionate. I need y'all to understand clearly how to get this priority problem out of here. It tells you that you're working with a 12-year-old due to this, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why you've been working with him. But after the second session, something new happens. So we want to stay in the here and now. And the new thing that happens is I call these people, these parents, because I need to meet with them after I've already met with their child with 2 sessions. And so now, here and now in the moment, the mother is hesitant, the father is resistant. That is what's happening right now. So that's what you gotta know. Make sure when y'all trying to get this present problem, y'all focusing on the here and now. So yes, after the second session, you call the parents, the mother is hesitant, the father is resistant, like, nah, I don't want to meet, she y'all problem. So you go on to explaining the reason for the meeting to the parents, why to this hesitant mother, this resistant father. What
Mhm.
I do next after you explain, okay, this is the reason for this meeting, right? So we know that next means you're gonna do what
Reassure the parents and encourage them.
because you're gonna do what comes next after the last thing the social worker did. And so the last thing the social worker did is pretty much explain to them for the reason for the meeting, because apparently they got some type of issue, like why the mother hesitant, why the father is resistant.
Mhm.
The only one that really makes sense, that really addresses what the actual presenting problem is this one. So you want to reassure them that, listen, the primary interest is in helping your child, and try to encourage them to attend, because the mother is hesitant, the father is like, nah, we ain't doing it, I ain't doing it.
Mhm.
All right. So just the key into this one is just making sure that we are knowing how to pick out the priority issue. And then it tells you after meeting with after explaining, the reasoning for the meeting. And what you're gonna do next. You explained it to why I want to meet with you. So let me reassure you, this is only about your child. This don't have nothing to do with y'all, So the rationale says the social worker needs to engage the family in a discussion about the difficulties their daughter is experiencing in school. That's why she want to talk to him. She's been working with her for 2 sessions or whatever. If the parents feel blamed for a child's problem, they may be reluctant to participate. I guess that's just laying out note. Since it's important for both parents to be involved, reassuring the parents that this is solely to do with what's in the best interest of the child, and encouraging them to attend, encouraging them to participate, seeks to motivate the parents by creating an alliance with them. So yeah, just basically, letting them know, hey, this is all about your child. We're just trying to come together as a united front to see what we can do, because she's struggling, she's having these difficulties. What can we do as a team? Y'all at home, her at school, whatever. Their daddy probably know feeling guilty about something. So, all right. How do you feel about that next question? Is there any questions? I know you said that you had trouble picking out the presenting problem. Were you one that picked out this one, or did you pick it out right?
No, I picked out lack of engagement in class, sleeping in class. I picked that out for the presenting problem.
Okay, so that was wrong. So when we started, you said that you struggle with picking out the right presenting problem when it comes to the next question. So I'm trying to understand, like, what is the next?
Because it seemed like C, it just stood out to me as being the most obvious answer, to be honest. Because of course I wouldn't just refer them to a community agency, and she's 12 years old. I wouldn't just continue just to work with the child, and I don't see any signs of abuse or neglect, so I wouldn't call CPS. So it just stood out as the most reasonable answer.
But why did you, what was the issue with picking out the presenting problem?
I don't know exactly, but I kind of understand what you stated when you was talking about it now, because it is a new situation when the mother is hesitant and the father is resistant. And then I'm looking at the quotation, while their daughter is in school, she is in school, she is the school's problem. So when you start explaining it, that's when I was like, yeah, that makes sense, because that will connect to answer C.
And not only that, that's what's happening. That's the most present thing.
Right.
Okay. All right. All right. Just want to make sure you got you clear on that. Anybody want to take this one?
A social worker receives a call from an insurance company to verify that the client is receiving services. The client is already verbally giving the social worker permission to release information. What should the social worker do? So this is going to be more of a code of ethic question.
And we kind of know, in case y'all don't know, that normally when we identify that this is more of an ethical question, most times you don't have to worry about a phase of the process and all that kind of stuff because it's ethics. It's kind of like, either you know it or you don't. You need to know what's ethical and what's not. So you don't have to really worry about a phase and all of that. You just need to worry about what the problem is and what's the most ethical thing to do about it. That's just a side note. Okay, so continue.
All right. 8, give the information to the insurance company since consent has already been confirmed.
What did you say the problem was?
The problem is the social worker received a call from the insurance company to verify the client is receiving services.
Why is that a problem? That happens every day.
Well, I'm looking at because the social worker received a call from the insurance company, not that the well,
I think the verbal consent would be the problem.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Or the priority issue. Okay. Yeah, because just off of the fact that they're calling, like that's something normal. But the fact that you already gave them permission to release your information or whatever. So we just got to know ethically, what do we need to do about this situation? So are we going to A?
I would scratch it.
Tell me why.
Because I think that we need a signed release of information. I think that's something should be done first or in intake.
Okay. Anybody disagree?
No, I agree.
No, I agree.
Okay.
Okay, obtain written consent from the client to release information. I'm going to pause on that.
Okay.
Consult the situation with your supervisor. I'm going to scratch that.
Why?
Because I don't think I need to consult my supervisor to know that I need to get a written consent from the client. I think that's just something that as a social worker, by that being something ethical, we should just.
Okay. What about D?
Tell the insurance that they need to speak with the billing department directly. I can scratch that. I don't think that we need to talk to the billing department directly.
Not you speaking with them. You're going to tell the insurance company that they need to speak. It's saying the social worker should tell the insurance company that they would need to speak with the insurance company directly. Like basically, I can't get information. Let me connect you to my billing department. That's kind of what that was saying.
Yeah, because it's almost like the social worker trying to push it off for her, make it somebody else's responsibility to make that decision. So I'm going to go B.
All right. Anybody else have any objections or comments or anything?
I agree.
Agree.
All right. Well, y'all all are right. So y'all know y'all ethics. Hopefully y'all watched it. So basically, this is the cover your butt situation. You want to get everything in writing, just like I heard somebody say. Yeah, she told you, oh, it's okay. Give me my information, whatever. Give it. Nope, get it in writing. All right. So we got a most question. A school social worker is meeting with the parents of a 5th grade student who is having difficulty engaging in class. The child's parents states that she is the same way at home when it's time to do homework assignments. When the social worker interviews the students, she states, I don't like doing the work because I never understand it. What would be the most appropriate step for the social worker to take? All right, so any phase of the process here?
Beginning,
Why is that?
social work is meeting with.
Usually when it says it's meeting, most of the time we're in the beginning. Okay. So what is the priority presenting problem? Most critical thing that's happening in the present that we need to address.
The child, what the child stated, I don't like doing the work because I never understand it. That's the problem.
Okay. What is the question asking of us?
What would be the most appropriate step for the social worker?
So yeah, when y'all have most, it is literally what it says. What is the most appropriate? So that just means what makes the most sense.
Mhm.
So what makes the most sense? What is the most sensible step for the social worker to take? Literally, it means exactly what it says. No trick behind it, no most important than that. It's what makes the most sense. Okay. So what is the most sensible step or most appropriate step for the social worker to take in regards to this problem? Okay. The student saying, I don't like the word because I never understand. Is it A, register the student for after school tutoring?
Right.
Yes, scratch.
Why? She says she don't understand her word.
Does not address the problem.
Right.
Oh, okay. All right, create an IEP for the student.
Scratch.
Scratch. Yeah.
Why not?
That's not the most appropriate right now.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Refer the student to the school psychologist for further assessment.
Right.
I'd say pause.
Okay. Explore with the parents creative ways to get the student more engaged in their schoolwork.
Scratch, because there's a problem at home and at school. It's not just with the parents.
It's not just what? I didn't hear you.
It's not just with the parents. She's having problems in school also.
So for the person who wants to scratch C, what are your thoughts about C being the only answer left? Oh my goodness, y'all are acting like y'all out. Oh, did y'all hear that?
It just wasn't me this time.
Everybody's like, oh my Lord, why she get? I'm gonna tell you question. Y'all want them easy questions that y'all just know all the answers to. Those questions don't help y'all.
You're right.
It'd be great if it's on the test.
Exactly. If y'all want to know, get all the answers right, then y'all didn't even need to be here. So guess what? I'm gonna give y'all a challenge.
Oh, wow.
So Miss C, whoever said that C was to scratch it, C is the only thing that's left. And I just want to know, are you content with that, or do you feel like something not right because C is still not the answer to you?
I just don't know if the child should see a psychologist. I don't know.
Okay, cool. That's cool. You don't know. So let me show you how to know if this makes sense, or maybe it might be another answer. So remember, y'all, I'm going to keep telling y'all, consider the situation, but focus on the problem. The situation is we meeting with this student, this fifth grade student who is having difficulty engaging in class. We have already identified that, we're in the beginning. All right. So apparently we talked to the child's parents and like, oh, she's the same way. When it's time to do homework, we have difficulty getting her to engage, basically is what they're saying. So when you talk to the student, this is where the big deal comes in at. When you, the social worker, talks to the student, she's like, oh, I don't like doing the work because I never understand it. So the most appropriate step, some people would say registering a student for after school tutoring, because she's saying she don't like doing the work because she don't understand it. So maybe if we get a tutor and she might understand it and start liking the work. How y'all feel about that? Don't sound right, don't sit right, don't sound right. I'm not saying it's asking
And
for
I just think it's a Band-Aid.
I say,
Okay.
right, it's
I agree with that. I think it's a Band-Aid as well. So referring the student to the school psychologist for further assessment, we can that is pretty much what a school psychologist is for, to kind of see what's going on with the kid when, okay, she's having trouble in school, engaging in school, she's having trouble engaging at home every time it comes to work. And then she's specifically telling me, I don't like it because I just can't understand this stuff. So let's refer her and see what is going on. And it's not like you're just throwing it out there to the psychologist and you haven't worked with her, because it's already clear that she's having trouble. The parents are saying the same thing. And the client has said, look, I don't like it because I don't understand it. So let's see what else is going on. And that's what school psychologists, that's what they're there for. That's what they do.
okay.
I got another question. Isn't an assessment of some sort needed before an IEP is written?
Most of the time, yes.
So
Yeah, the IEP is I guess
that's, so you need an assessment before you can get an IEP.
before you can even get that. That's absolutely true.
Right, exactly.
That way, but you're absolutely right. Yep. So that creating an IEP for that student is just because she don't like the work and on, So yeah, you think about that. All right. So that's good. Good. Number 10. Oh, we got another ethical question.
A school social worker is conducting a behavior assessment on a student. During the observation assessment, the social worker sees the teacher forcefully spanking the child knuckles with a ruler and calling him stupid. The social worker should. So we're in the beginning phase. And this is ethics. A document the incident in writing and report it to the principal. I would say scratch. B, call the police to intervene. I would say scratch as well. C, contact.
Wait. Why you don't want to tell the principal what that teacher doing? I'm just curious.
C, contact the parents to inform them. I would say scratch. And I would go with D, immediately report the incident to the principal, inform them that you must make a CPS report.
I agree.
Anybody disagree?
I agree.
Why are we calling CPS?
Because she's forcibly spanking
Yeah.
this child.
Yes, any suspicion or anytime you see abuse, it has to be reported. Regardless. Now, I'm stressing that because I had a client that brought up something very important in a session today, where she was kind of confused about when do you call the cops first versus CPS. So sometimes these questions will say, call the authorities or the proper authorities. So let me just point out, anytime that there is an abuse situation with a child, you will always notify CPS. That doesn't say that you're not going to call the cops, because let's just say you notice that this child has been has bruises and abuse. You're going to notify CPS, and then you might want to. Then you're probably going to call 911 or the authorities on the parent. But because the child is the priority, and on the ASWB exam, y'all just make sure that y'all are clear that you are going to, because she wanted to call the cops first. And I was like, yeah, but we got to focus on the child. So the child's priority. So CPS. I just wanted to point that out because I had never heard anybody with that perspective before, which is a good perspective. But just know that child abuse, CPS. Then you can call the cops on whoever the offender is after that. But CPS is the priority. Okay. All right. We got a good old best question.
A social worker meets with the parents of a 3-year-old boy due to their concern that he seems to be infatuated with touching his and their private parts. The parents are confused about where he would pick up these negative behaviors. The best way for the social worker to respond to the parents is to. So a social worker meets with the parents of a 3-year-old. So I would say we're in the beginning phase.
Okay.
And the problem is the parents are confused about where he would pick up these negative behaviors.
Mhm.
Okay.
And so we're going to meet the client where they are best. Schedule an individual session with the child to assess for sexual abuse. I would say scratch. The child's 3. B, explore potential sexual abuse by asking the parents who else the child is around besides them. I would scratch.
Why?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't think that because he's 3, he could be at daycare. He could be, I mean, I'm just adding to it, but I just don't know if I would go with the answer. I don't like it.
All right. Everybody want to scratch?
Yes.
All right. So go ahead.
C, refer the child for a physical examination. I would say scratch as well.
Okay.
And
The answer.
yes, explain to the parents that this developmentally appropriate behavior is at this age.
You saying the answer is?
Yes, ma'am. I'm good.
Oh, okay.
I would go with D. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. D directly addresses what you said the problem is. So the parents are confused where he would pick this up at. And the best way to respond to the parents is to explain that this is developmentally appropriate. So this is one of those human behavior questions where you have an age of the person and you have a behavior. You have a 3-year-old that's infatuated with private parts. That is typical, development. That's typical human behavior for his age. So that's all you have to do. So let me point out with this human development question is that you pay attention to when you realize, okay, there's an age here and it's questionable behavior. That's the human development question. So all you have to do is say, okay, 3-year-old infatuated touching, and you relate them. Is that related? How is that related? Is that normal? That's how you look at human development questions. Just look at the age or the stage that they give you and the behavior and pretty much answer the question. That's normal. That's developmentally appropriate. Okay. All right. Well, let's see. This is the first question.
I'll do it because then I'm going to have to cut out. I'm sorry.
Okay. Oh, no problem. No problem. You'll get the rest of the session, so you won't miss anything.
Thank you. Thank you. So, okay, a social worker is employed as a case manager at a community clinic. While meeting with a client, the social worker learns that the client is being removed from subsidized housing program due to income violations because her ex-husband's income was somehow reported for her household. The client cannot afford to pay full rent. What should the social worker do first? So the problem is, this is a community question. This is a macro question, is what you're saying.
Yeah, you always get to go out with a bang for some reason.
I know, I always do. Okay, so the problem is the client is being removed from the housing program due to income violation because her ex-husband's income is reported. for a household and she can't afford to pay the full rent.
Okay, so
So the client cannot afford to pay the full rent. That's the problem.
okay. Did you say what the phase is already?
What's the first? It's, well,
It just kind of said that. So it's not really alluding to anything. So that means it's probably not going to be that necessary. So we can.
okay. Suggests that the client filed complaint against the housing authority. I'm going to scratch that
Why?
because
She can't pay. She can't afford to pay rent.
she can't, right, it's something that we have to do something fast first.
Gotcha. Okay.
Provide the client with referrals to attorneys. Absolutely not, because she can't afford to pay the rent. She's not gonna be able to afford to pay any attorneys.
Okay.
Help the client through the process of appealing the housing authority's decision. That would be great, but that's not the first thing.
Okay.
I say D, help find other housing options with the client. But you don't want her to be homeless.
Okay. So chime in before she goes, y'all. Chime in. Let me know what's going on.
I like D.
Okay. Tell me why.
I would say,
I gotta
I
know
would say C,
who's saying C.
me, Chris.
Okay. Oh, so she didn't change the game up too. I'm trying to find out why it's D. She said C. So why is it C?
Because it's, I'm reading the part, the housing program due to income violation because her ex-husband income was somehow reported for her household. It's her ex-husband. So I would think the first thing to do is to appeal it by providing a proof that it's her ex-husband. Ex-husband don't live with her, and that they need to, probably look into it.
And you better make it make sense because that's exactly right. So basically, consider the situation, focus on the problem. So Ms. Adrian, the situation is that this client is being removed from her subsidized housing because of income violations because her ex-husband somehow was reported. So, but that's her ex-husband. She ain't even with him no more. So you like, oh well, let's find some other housing options. So the problem is that she cannot afford to pay for rent, yes, but even bigger and beyond that, she is basically losing her benefits due to something that is not accurate. Okay. The most important thing we need to clear that up.
Okay.
Don't worry about other housing. So that's what that answer is. How you feeling about that before you go?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, do that and then you can do the other part.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Good evening. I will email you all.
You'll see me again.
Yes, ma'am. Have a great evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Anybody got any questions about that one before we move on? Any questions about anything so far before we move on? Anybody want to interject anything? Have any questions about any of the first or next or anything so far?
I would say I like that question because it kind of helps us move from our practice wisdom.
Yep. Yep. That's actually good. I don't even know where I got that question from.
It was a little tricky.
It was
Yes,
tricky.
It
was
tricky.
tricky. So that's why I say you still got to be focusing on what you got to focus on, but consider the situation as well. Don't be forgetting to consider what's going on in the situation. Okay. All right. Let's get this other next question.
A social worker is working with a family with learning how to better communicate. After helping them initiate the use of resources such as the feeling stick, what should the social worker do next?
All right, so just briefly, what's about what this question is about?
I want to know what is a feeling stick.
Oh my goodness. Well, allow me. A feeling stick is that thing when you're doing group sessions to where when you give somebody in the group that stick, they have to tell you how they feel. So even if there's an issue, let's just say you're in a group and an argument breaks out or a big disagreement about maybe what you're talking about, pops off. So you commands everybody attention and you give them the feeling stick and you're like, okay, so whoever has a stick has the floor. Tell us how you feel. And you can say, okay, I feel like you were disrespectful because of this, that, and the other. And then you give whoever next or whoever wants to stick the stick, and that's pretty much how it goes. It's actually really, really cool, y'all. Anyway, so yeah. So you're in a group.
So right about now, I got the feeling stick.
Go ahead with your feeling stick, girl. How you feel? Tell us about this question.
I feel like I really want to pass this test. Like tomorrow.
I mean, technically it sounds like it because y'all like, so tell me how
So
y'all
we need to
feel.
say it from who has the feeling stick to read this question. Okay. All right. So monitor their success. Since you explained that, I don't think we'll scratch that.
Okay. Why are we scratching it? I'm just curious.
Because
I'm sorry, I'm trying to highlight the stuff that we didn't.
Because we're looking at learning how to better communicate. I think that's the focus right now.
It's the next question. So keeping in mind that we're trying to focus on learning how to better communicate. So after you help them initiate use of resources, like basically you taught them about how to use the feeling stick when they're trying to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
Next, after you give them that resource.
Okay, B, set goals and action plans. I would say scratch that.
Okay.
And C, define their problem. That looks like it's connecting to learning how to better communicate because they defining their problem. So I'm gonna pause on it.
Okay.
And then recommend resources. I will scratch that. So I will go with C.
All right. How y'all feeling about this one?
I agree.
Okay. So defining their problem is they need to learn how to communicate, first of all. I'm just saying. But so you're focusing on what the focus is, which is learning how to better communicate, which, yeah, that is really their problem. But you got to remember what the question is asking you. This is the next question. So that means you're going to do what comes next after the last thing the social worker did or the last thing in the situation. So here we go. After helping them initiate the use of resources, then you want to define their problem. So you want to give them resources before you even know what their problem is?
Mm.
B.
Because their problem is that they need to learn how to better communicate.
B.
Okay, so you're going to give them a resource and then you're going to set a goal and a plan for them.
Well, it's going to be A. Monitor this.
At this point, I don't really know what it's going to be. So let's just logically think about this, y'all. The goal or the issue is, the problem here is you're working with this family because they need to learn how to better communicate. So that's what their problem is. So you give them a resource to use.
And you want to just monitor their success and see how well they're doing.
There you go. After you give them a resource, then you got to monitor and see, okay, so let's see how this is working for y'all. Monitor how this is working for you, like in sessions. I want to know how this works for y'all at home. I need to monitor the success of this resource to see if this resource is actually effective for the problem. You know what the problem is. Recommend resources. We already did that. Set goals and action plans. Giving them that resource was a part of the plan. Make sense? So
yes,
definitely gonna be A.
You kind of confused me.
After you explain it, it makes sense.
So I want to get to the point to where I don't have to explain it like that. But I mean, that's what these sessions are for. So I want to make sure that you understand it, even if I got to explain it, because yes, when you see it on the exam like that, you're going to know because it's already been explained. So I'd rather y'all not know it up in here. So this is rationale is important because this question examines your knowledge of the problem solving process. Y'all know the problem, like that, write that down, the problem solving process. That is not the intervention process, y'all. Now, granted, they are very similar, but just know when you're solving a problem, you define the problem, you set the goals, and you monitor the success and all of that, which is similar to the helping process, but y'all, it's a little different. So make sure y'all will know how to know that, because I mean that's all we be doing is solving problems anyway, pretty much. That's what they be using. So, any questions about that?
No.
Makes sense.
All right, we got a best question. Anybody want to take this best question?
A social worker at a nonprofit agency works with families who are struggling to obtain basic life necessities that meet agency eligibility criteria. In order to best meet the client's needs, the social worker should. So
Somebody gave me this question, sent me this question.
So are we looking for a priority problem here? It's the work, is it going to be works with the families?
Yeah, this is pretty much the only thing we got to focus on. It's just the fact that we're working with families who are struggling to obtain basic life necessities. Yeah.
Okay. In order to best meet the client's needs, the social worker should only tell them about the services that they may be eligible for. That's not what we're gonna do.
They scratch it. Yeah.
I mean, I think they were trying to throw y'all off because they said they meet, you work with clients that, meet eligibility criteria. They probably, they left that one up.
Prioritize the clients by level of need. Just pause it for right now.
Okay.
Assist clients in determining what their most important needs and access barriers are. I like that answer.
Okay.
I don't know, because this one, it says social worker at a nonprofit agency. So I'm gonna need some help with this one.
Yay, team. What y'all thinking?
So let's go ahead and get rid of D, because we know we're not gonna do that.
Why not?
Like we need to be in the here and now. Okay, so works with families who are struggling to obtain basic life necessities that meet agency criteria, eligibility criteria.
I want to say C, but I guess D kind of threw me off because I don't know if this.
So you work with families who are struggling to, provide their basic life necessities. That could be housing, that could be food, that could be clothing, like the basic things that they need. So you work with clients who you're trying to help provide them or get them provided with food, shelter, clothing, that type of stuff. to best meet their needs, which we know their needs are basic life necessities, food, shelter, clothing. What is the best way to do that? So the best thing we're going to do is we're going to meet them where they are, which is needing these necessities. So the best thing that we can do to help them? What is the best? Yeah, what is the best thing we can do? What's the most beneficial? Because best, you can think of it as most beneficial. So in this case, what is the most beneficial thing that we can do to help their situation or help them, the ones who are struggling to
I say C.
I like C too.
Okay, so tell me, why wouldn't it be B?
Because you're forgetting some clients.
Bam, that's what exactly right. Because you prioritize clients by level of need. In some instances, you do that, but you're working at an agency that your total role is just assisting families in general who's struggling. So basically, you like, oh, well, you need a house, you need a house, but you need food. Like you basically trying to say, you can't do that.
Right.
So you assist the clients in determining what their most important needs and access barriers are. And all that means is, okay, what is your more important need? Is it food? Is it housing? Is it clothing? And what are the barriers that are stopping you from accessing that? Let's find, because let's just say if they need a house and their barrier is, okay, I don't have a job. So then we can focus on trying to get them a job so they can afford housing. Or if they don't have food because they don't have money, then we can say, okay, let's focus on getting you some food or some resources. You see what I'm saying? Let's figure out what their important needs are and what the barriers are, because a lot of times we can address the barrier, we can fit the need, we can fulfill the need.
It makes sense. I think I was letting the host of fair throw me off and say, wait, is this a different type of a question?
Yeah, tell me why.
I don't know. It's getting late, girl.
Oh yeah, that's a great excuse. Look, say less. Say less. That's totally understandable because I'm with you on that. I totally understand. Stuff just don't be making sense after a certain time of day. Yep. Nope. You excuse for that. Good thing we almost there.
I know, I'm hanging in there.
We're gonna freestyle in a minute. So let's go. I try to put a little diversity in this one, but
it helps.
Number 15, I'm gonna do number 15. This is a social worker begins working with a 26-year-old client on improving her emotions and interpersonal relationships. Okay. The client's emotions have often resulted in impulsive actions and chaotic relationships with other people. The client reports that her parents gave her up at age 2 and she does not know who they are. She's been alone and have tried to overdose in the past. What is the most likely personality disorder diagnosis for this client? So of course, this is a recall diagnosis question, and you just have to, when they ask you about a diagnosis, you pay attention to the symptoms, okay, to what's going on. So know that she's a 26-year-old. She's working on improving her emotions and interpersonal relationships, okay? So it's telling us that her emotions have often resulted in impulsive actions and chaotic relationships. That's a sign.
The borderline.
Parents gave her up at the age of 2. That might be relevant to something. And, she don't even know who they are. So, that could possibly be relevant to something as well. And it also tells us that she struggles with being alone and have tried to overdose in the past. So before we even go into figuring out what this is or whatever, let me just point out that this is a Unit 2 diagnosis question. So I want to point out that this is that type of question that you don't need that strategy for, because it's not a clinical intervention. This is a recall question, but when it's a diagnosis question, you are primarily focused on the symptoms, the signs, and the duration of what they're presenting to determine the disorder or the diagnosis, okay? So not trying to break this down, we're focusing on the signs and if they give us a duration of how long it's been going on, whatever. All right, with that being said, we have identified that, she have impulsive actions and chaotic relationships with other people. Her emotions have, kind of caused that. Her gave up at age 2, so she don't even know who her parents are. So she's struggling with being alone and she's tried to overdose in the past. So this is a personality disorder. They gave us that much. So which one is it most likely? Borderline personality disorder. Do y'all know what that is? Signs of that. Let's just kind of talk about it. Does the signs that's in here resemble borderline personality disorder?
Yes.
Okay, so pause that. What about dependent personality disorder? If y'all, I'm putting this in case y'all want me to write any notes, so when y'all have the document, y'all can study it. Anything I need to write about dependent personality disorder? Does any of the signs in here relate?
No, she's not relying on anyone else.
Okay, so this is when we rely on, well, I'm gonna say heavily on others, okay? What about paranoid personality?
I would say scratch as well.
Okay, because that's mostly exactly what it says. You know, you're kind of I don't know. Okay, right here. So, what about avoidant?
I would say scratch as well.
Okay, so tell me, what is avoidant personality disorder?
No,
Person that avoids being around people, events.
limited social, would you say more limited social or?
All of that.
Yeah.
All of that. So you basically kind of trying to avoid social interactions and stuff like that. So out of all these that we have said, does any of these match these signs up here?
No.
So borderline, y'all saying it matches. So that is
Yes.
right. So yeah, and that's just how you figure it out. Just look at those signs, and even if you don't know hold on, that's not the right rationale. Even if you don't know the actual answer, just kind of figure it out. Especially with these personalities disorders, they actually are what they say they are. You know, like stuff in people and all of that. Paranoid, you paranoid. So it says nothing about that. So that was just made just a to me a common sense recall. Even
luckily.
Deal. Risk factors. I just added this because y'all do need to know personality disorders. So just the risk factors for borderline personality disorder, because that's the primary one that you may see on there if you see any. It's abandonment in childhood or adolescence, disrupted family life, poor communication in family, sexual, physical, or emotional abuse. So that's what causes clients or people to have these emotional impulsive actions and all this other kind of stuff, because I mean, they have all these emotional issues that happen as a child and all that. Okay. All right. And here I was thinking people who was born with it.
No, we're gonna have a lot of people with some.
Right. Right. Oh my goodness, the world. Okay. Anybody want to take this one? This is a must question. Y'all don't be seeing must questions. I was something different.
Okay.
A social worker at a women's homeless shelter is meeting with a new client. The client states that she is in love with a man she went to high school with, and they want to get married and start a family. The woman is unemployed, does not have a place to live, and is clearly malnourished due to her difficulty finding food for the past several weeks. According to the Maslow hierarchy of needs, what must happen before the woman should get married?
All right, so let's just talk about it, because this apparently, when I see Maslow, automatically I'm thinking unit 1. So I got to think about this little pyramid. Let's talk about what's going on.
New client.
What's the big issue here? What's the big focus?
Does not have a place to live. She's unemployed.
No place to live, malnourished, difficult finding food.
Girl, but she's talking about they want to get married.
She need the basic necessities.
Because we're talking about Maslow, so we got to think about, you know, the hierarchy of needs.
Right.
Mary, according to Maslow, what does she need to? What needs to happen? What does she need to have? Well, like, okay, so is it a
Scratch?
Scratch that.
Okay, why? Why are we scratching it?
That's high up the chain.
That's the self-preservation.
I was just curious to hear what y'all was gonna say. Okay.
I mean, the self-actualization. I don't know. I can't remember.
The woman should find a stable place to live and a regular source of income. We're gonna pause on that.
Mhm.
C, the woman should seek out opportunities for personal growth. Let's scratch that.
Okay.
And D, the woman should reevaluate her priorities by engaging in individual therapy.
It's not even there yet.
Right.
She apparently does need to reevaluate her priorities. Girl, you want and you don't even have food?
She needs to do that, but she's not even there yet.
Is you ain't even really got no priorities at this.
Right.
So according to Maslow, we know that physiological needs, like safety and place of food, the basic needs.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right. Shelter, all of that.
Shelter.
That's what we got to get that together first. So get your and some money, because where y'all gonna live?
Well, they do it, honey. They get married and.
Honey, not according to Maslow. So this ain't how you supposed to do this. So that ain't what we're gonna do. So yes, y'all right on that. So that's just I guess you can say a recap of Maslow, how to apply that into a situation, applying that into the situation, into a situation.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
All right.
A social worker in a substance abuse clinic receives a referral for a 24-year-old mother of 2 young children because of struggles with cocaine use. In order for the client to maintain long-term control of her substance dependence, what is the most required of the client?
Did I mess that up?
What is most required of the client?
Okay.
Okay, so we're in the beginning phase because the social worker receives a referral.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm
on the other screen, so I'll be there.
So I would say the presenting problem is
she receives a referral.
I would say the presenting problem would be her
struggles with use of cocaine, or I don't know. You go ahead.
Well, I was just, yeah, I do agree.
Mother.
I would say struggle of cocaine is the problem.
Okay, so let me just point this out while we're here. When you have a referral, when it says your client is referred because of, that is going to be your priority issue.
Okay.
Unless you've already kind of started working with the client. So that sounds like, oh, the client was referred for cocaine use. During the 3rd session, the client reports that her mom dies. So now cocaine use is not the priority issue right now. The fact that her mom died, that's going to be our priority issue because that's what's happening in the moment. But if it doesn't tell you, if you're still in the beginning phase, the referral is going to be your priority issue. Because think about it, when you get a referral on your desk, the first thing you look at is why they here. That's what you focus on when you're, in the beginning. So referral, the because is going to be your issue unless it says, okay, during the 2nd session, the 3rd session. Clear?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay.
A, she must be highly motivated and open to a range of medical and psychosocial interventions. I would say scratch.
Why are we scratching it?
Because we're gonna deal with the substance use first.
Mhm.
Okay.
B, the social worker must find appropriate medical detoxification services for her. I would say pause. C, she must be motivated, have a high level of support from her family. Scratch,
Why are we scratching that?
because it says what is most required of the client.
Okay.
D, she must attend therapy regularly and be ready and willing to change.
Mhm.
I would
I like
go.
that.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. I want to see.
I like D.
That's what I was saying, but I
like D.
Okay.
because we're looking at long term.
Miss Chris, how you feeling?
I would go with, I'm going with D.
Okay. So anybody want to tell me why? Since everybody chose D? Y'all don't sound like y'all sure or confident. So I definitely want to know why.
Well,
I'm looking at she's struggling, so it looks like trying to get the patient to be motivated to change because she's been struggling with cocaine use.
Woo, somebody is on it right there. Okay.
Mhm.
Let me point this out. Because I hear, and when we get so caught up in making sure that we're focused on the presented problem, yes, you know that we have to do that. But you also have to pay attention to what the question is asking you to do about the presented problem. Y'all know that's step 4 in the strategy. So what is the question asking? We know that she is struggling with cocaine use. But what is the question asking of?
Most required of the client.
No.
because of her struggles with use of cocaine.
The question is asking you basically, it's asking you, okay, what you're trying to do is you're trying to get the client to maintain long-term control of her substance.
That's what I said. Long term.
So, okay. So if that's what the goal is, we know that she's struggling with cocaine use, and the goal is to help her, kind of have long-term control of it. What is going to be most required of that client?
D.
Her willingness to change.
To attend therapy regularly and be ready and willing to change. That is what's going to keep her long-term.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right.
Wrong.
Right.
Wrong.
Wrong.
All the way wrong. I regret to inform y'all that y'all are all the way wrong.
Wow.
Anybody want to take another stab and tell me why, or figure something else out before because I want y'all to think and process.
Okay, wait a minute. We're
gonna wait all the minutes you want to wait.
Pass the feeling stick to me.
Go.
Pass the feeling stick to me.
Go ahead. How you feeling?
I'm feeling disgusted since you said D is wrong.
Okay. I want y'all to one. What y'all thinking?
Oh, I'm gonna go take a stab at it.
Stab away.
I'm gonna choose C.
Why?
Because I'm gonna choose C because it says she has children and she's struggling, so she's not alone in the process. And based on work with substance abuse, you need support in the process and accountability partners. I'm gonna go with that.
Okay. How y'all feeling about that? At this point, y'all just probably like whatever it is.
I'm
Because
going to go with A.
I mean, you gotta we meeting her where she at. And if we meeting her where she is.
I mean, with C, okay, if I'm looking at C and we looking at high level support from her family, I mean, it's not mentioning nothing about her family. It just
exactly
talking about two young
that's
children.
irrelevant. That's the irrelevant tip. I'm sorry.
Oh Lord, have mercy. I'm passing the feeling stick to somebody else now, but I'm gonna go with A. I don't.
Okay, well let me undo A then. Why is it A?
All right.
This is so funny. I love it.
All right. She's struggling with cocaine.
Okay.
We want to maintain long control of her substance dependence. Okay. Okay, I have to say I would go with B.
Oh, okay. Golly.
I'm gonna go with
You
B.
know what?
Because
Let me go ahead and
Fine.
highlight all of them for y'all. Because we didn't went through the board. Okay, we got with a B.
Okay.
Tell me, hold on, I want to know, were you the one that
control.
just said A? And you the same person that just said A?
Yes, Chris.
Tell me why we're going with B.
Why I'm going with B. I don't know. I'm going back with A.
Oh Lord. Well, why are you going? Well, why are you going with A?
Well, we're trying to get her highly motivated, and I think if we are going to, if she's going to be maintain long-term control, because substance dependence, I think of medical and psychosocial intervention need to be part of her treatment.
I like A too.
Oh. Tip?
If I'm having to choose out of A and B, I would definitely yes, A.
Okay. So let's work our way back up. So we already talked about
D is not the answer.
D is not the answer. Because we are trying to, number one, we're trying to maintain long-term control. So being ready and willing to change is not that's not something in the beginning. Like, that kind of starts in the beginning when you're ready, you're willing to get started and change, and of course attending therapy regularly, but that is just not the gist of maintaining long-term. That just doesn't help you maintain control of your substance abuse, okay? So no, motivated and have a high level of support from her family, that one is kind of irrelevant, but yeah, we do definitely want her to be motivated, all of that. The social worker must find appropriate medical detoxification services. Yes, definitely. We want to find those to detox her, but we're not just talking about detox. Detox is in the beginning. So we're talking about over the long term. That's why I would highlight it. We're trying to do something over the long term that's going to sustain her so we can detox her, but we need to keep her detox is what the question is asking. Okay, so B is not the answer. A is definitely the answer, because in order for them to stay clean, they got to be motivated, first of all, to do that, highly motivated to do that, because we know that that's a tough thing. And they have to be not only motivated, but they have to be open to a range of medical and psychosocial intervention. So it does involve detox. That might involve Suboxone or whatever, as the psychosocial interventions, teaching them coping skills, teaching attending therapy. So that is what is going to carry them over the long term. That is what is most required of the client. So I'm glad the rationale is a little bit long so that y'all can actually understand, because y'all went through all the answers. Right. So for B, detoxification services are also important, but without additional support and a high level of motivation from the client, it's not likely to be successful over the long term, because we're trying to maintain long term. C, it would be helpful for the client to have support from her family and attend regularly, but without a range of interventions, she's most likely to relapse. You got to have those interventions. That's what's mainly important. Being willing to change and engage is important, and getting the client started in the beginning but she needs to stay motivated over the long term. So we got to have interventions that keep her motivated. Okay, not just in the beginning. Whew. Whew. It's 8:30, y'all. That is a question to go out on.
That is a good question.
It's a very good question. Tell me, what do y'all think? What y'all feel about that question? Because I'm gonna tell y'all what I feel like happened with this question. Y'all didn't focus on what y'all need to focus on. Struggling with cocaine use, that is the focus. But what the question is asking you, I don't think y'all really paid attention to exactly what they're asking, because nobody was focusing on maintaining long-term control. I even bolded it, and y'all still was like, what's most required of the client? So I'm saying that because I want y'all to make sure that when y'all answering these questions, make sure y'all focusing on what the question is really asking you, or what is the question, requiring that you intervene on. This question was really formulated different from the other ones that y'all have seen. Okay. And let me tell you why, because y'all used to seeing what should the social worker do, what the social worker should do, this, that, and the other. This wasn't even about the social worker. This was about the client. So they switched the game all the way up on y'all to focus you on what the client should be doing, what's most required of the client. So kind of just keep that in mind, that, being able to, I guess, flip from understanding, okay, so this is a client intervention, this is a social work intervention. You're not going to have that many questions like this, but you don't want to get caught slipping with one like this, and then, God forbid, fail the exam by 1 point. So I'm glad we brought this up.
Yeah, that was a good question.
Yes, I really enjoyed this question. And I do like the way that y'all were able to process it. Kind of y'all went through the motions, together, because it helps, to have those perspectives. Versus, okay, let me see how she's thinking about it. Oh, okay, she's thinking about it like that. That makes sense. So that actually helps.
I think a better way to look at the answer A, though, is that answer A is all encompassing of pretty much all of those answers. If you look at all of those answers, that all of those things could fall in that one answer.
You're right.
You know what? You are absolutely right. You are absolutely
so right.
Which makes this an even better question because of that reason. I really like this question. I don't even know where it come from. So how y'all feeling?